Welcome to my second video on Slidle. Today we're going to be going over all of the custom meeple abilities I've added to Slidle. When I first started to make custom abilities in Slidle, I wanted to do things that would be hard to do in the physical version of Mutant Meeples. So I started with something that would remove an element from the board, something that would be near impossible in the physical copy of the board game. So I made Bulldozer. When Bulldozer's ability is active, he will attempt to try to slide through a wall. If he's able to, he will destroy the wall while sliding through it. So they're very similar to osmosis, but instead of just going through a wall, they destroy it. The feedback I got from Bulldozer was very positive. The way he interacts with the world, instead of just modifying his movement, made him fun to use. If there's a map that Bill could bust through a wall and then allow other meeples to follow them through, that was just fun. On the flip side of destroying things on the map, I also wanted a meeple that could create things, so I made Mitosis. When Mike's power is activated, they leave behind an unmovable copy of themselves. This power is okay at best. It's neat that it interacts with the world, but really it's normally just used as a more budget version of Sidestep's power to move over one square. The response to Mitosis was tepid. Now, to be fair to Mitosis, there are a couple of interesting interactions. Seeing as the clone is of actual meeple, support characters like Swap Meat can actually swap with it or interact with it in fun ways. After making some of my own custom meeples, I started to look at some of the community suggestions for new meeple types. I quickly made Chuck Horse, a meeple that can move the target instead of themselves, and Newton Cradle, a meeple who can ram into a meeple to cause the new meeple to move up to 2 spaces away. Feedback for both of these two new meeple types was a little bit telling. Chuck Horse was deemed a little bit too powerful. Whenever you used his power, you just made the puzzle a little bit too easy. And Newton Cradle had an issue where his power was just too situational. This is something that can happen to support characters if you're not careful in balancing their powers, as I have now learned. The next custom meeple I made was another community suggestion named Shell. Shell is a little bit of a complicated meeple type. When they're an available meeple on the board, randomly spawned at the start of the game, a green portal will be just somewhere. When their power is active, instead of moving, they can fire a dark green portal somewhere. If any meeple runs across one of the portals, they'll be teleported out the other end, continuing movement. While this is a very fun ability, it can be a little bit situational, but if you do manage to pull it off in combination with other meeple powers, it's just fun. This also led to a custom map generation rule called Start with Portals, where if it's selected, any future maps that you generate will have both portals start on the board somewhere, even if Shell is not a meeple. My most recent custom meeple is one called Pizza. Pizza was a fun support character. The idea is that he can provide pizza to other meeples. Any meeples that have a pizza can use their ability again. Pizza actually went through a few iterations. Order up. When he first started out, he would have to activate his ability and slam into a meeple to give them their pizza slice. This felt way too situational. It was a similar problem that I felt with Newton Cradle, and I wanted to learn from my mistake there. So leaning on a community suggestion, instead of having to slam into a meeple to give them a slice, he now drops a pizza token on the ground. Yum! Then if any meeple slides over that pizza token, they pick it up, thus allowing them to use their ability another time. Pizza's new power also led to another custom map generation rule. This time you can set how many pizza slices you want to randomly spawn on the board at the very start, even if pizza is not in play. Adding pizzas and portals to the game actually complicated it a lot more than you would think. I had to take into consideration a lot of different interactions. How would Carbon deal with having a pizza token? What happens if Sidestep slides exactly onto a portal? And things like that. Instead of going into more detail now, I'd like to save that for my next video. If you have any other suggestions for little dev blog videos like this, please let me know.